Did you read the actual 5,000 a day are allowed in? That's the part that makes me more nuts than the.
Yeah, none of it makes sense.
And all of a sudden they care about the border.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It's 2 minutes to midnight. These fuckers.
Let's go to former Vice President Biden. Respect the office. This is what's happening now with the immigration bill. Okay, just so you know, of course, the Senate. Hey, I wonder who called this. Said this was not going to become law. It got shut down. Right. The bipartisan, as we were told, border deal.
On this vote, the yeas are 49, the nays are 50. 3/5 of the senators duly chosen and sworn not having voted in the affirmative. The motion is not agreed to.
Now, keep in mind, this was a $118 billion bill with $20 billion going to the border, but $60 billion going to Ukraine. How about calling it the Ukraine bill?
Yeah.
And of course, like clockwork, what is happening? The Democrats are, they're what? They're blaming. They're saying, this is bipartisan. This is great. We need bipartisanship. We need to come to the center. Oh, look, no, it's extreme Republicans.
Oh, yeah. And actually, look, this you called this too.
Come, let Zoltar tell you more.
I'm gonna hit the next pitch ball right past the flag. We're gonna win the game, I guarantee it.
All right, and again, this isn't to say we're geniuses. This is to say that the left, the progressive left, is so predictable. You too can Babe Ruth, even though he didn't do that. This is what we said on Monday. But again, the theme is bipartisan. It's bipartisan. It's bipartisan. This is great. It's bipartisan. It's bipartisan. So they can say, look, Republicans won't sign the bipartisan bill. Extremists, MAGA, basket of deplorables. So stop with the idea of saying I'm a compassionate conservative. We talked about that last week. Stop saying I'm a moderate conservative. Because if you don't go along with the bill that provides hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine, Israel, to wars that has nothing to do, by the way, with immigration, then you'll be labeled an extremist.
Now, I do.
Oh, so Nick was about to
I'm sorry. It's tied to immigration, this whole bill, right?
Yeah, of course.
Well, that even if you exclude the Ukrainian part and the Russian money part,
yeah.
Did you read the actual 5,000 a day are allowed in? That's the part that makes me more nuts than the.
Yeah, none of it makes sense.
And all of a sudden they care about the border.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It's 2 minutes to midnight. These fuckers.
I tell you what, they're sociopaths. They accuse
really
you of doing exactly what it is that they are doing. And by the way, that is, this guy, Andrew Breitbart, he talked about Saul Alinsky before anyone was talking about him. Rules for radicals. And one of the rules is accuse the opposition of doing exactly what it is that you are doing. That's a technique that they use. So they say, oh, you're trying to turn this into a political issue. Really? With a border bill that's $60 billion for you, $118 billion bill and only $20 billion to the border? Really? The right-wing extremists are the ones politicizing it. So that was then yesterday, or sorry, Monday, where we called it. Now, the Democrats, of course, the left, they're blaming you, MAGA. And by the way, MAGA.
Is the DEI hire back or what?
MAGA?
No, that was me.
I thought I didn't write any notes today. Then I realized I threw them at the lady.
Oops.
So the Democrats are right on cue, blaming MAGA, which is, of course, just a stand-in for you if you disagree with this bill.
For years, they said they want to secure the border. Now they have the strongest border bill this country has ever seen.
Ever.
We're seeing statements about how many oppose the bill now. Look, I understand the former president is desperately trying to stop this bill.
Listen to that energy.
He's not interested in solving the border problem.
Riveting.
He wants a political issue to run against me on. I've all but said that across the board. No one really denies that I'm aware of. The American people want a solution that puts an end to the empty political rhetoric.
Well, there you have it. Former Vice President Biden doesn't know people.
And by the way, I mean, we talked about this too. We said, okay, well, put all those other things in their own bill. Yeah. Right? Do it. I believe in research. Do me a favor and pull this up. I thought I saw over the last day or two that they actually tried to pass a bill funding Israel, the 14 or something billion dollars will go to Israel. Failed.
Right.
Failed on its own. This is what it's supposed to be on its own. Why would Democrats not vote for it? I thought you wanted to send funding over there. I thought you were holding us over a barrel because we didn't want to support Israel. We didn't want to secure the border. Those are the things you wanted to slide the Ukraine stuff in without us looking.
Yes.
But when we separate it out, you guys don't even want it.
Well, this is exactly what, of course, they're doing. They're playing politics with it while accusing you of playing politics. Hey, I think that people who were opposed to this bill, I think that being opposed to a $118 billion bill because only $20 billion actually goes to the border and calling it the border bill or calling it the immigration bill, whatever label you want to give it, however it's being used, whatever colloquialism. I'm trying to remember the official name of the bill. Yeah. But people were saying...
not the border bill?
Yeah, there's in the border bill, the border bill, the immigration bill. Okay. I think the people saying, but only 20 out of 118 billion go... I think they're playing politics less than you shoehorning it in. That's just my opinion, though. So after the bill failed, you just saw former Vice President Biden and, of course, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who looks like he's wearing a Madame Tussauds Hakeem Jeffries mask, said the exact same thing.
We actually want to solve the problem.
They don't.
Republicans have been ordered by Donald Trump not to solve the challenges at the border, but to continue to play political games because they want to use the border as an electoral issue in November, and that's going to backfire. The Republicans thought they set a border trap for Democrats, and they fell into it themselves.
That kid from Cousin Skeeter is still letting someone else pull the strings. That is...
That's pretty good.
Remarkable.
His hand gestures weren't timed with his emphasis on his voice.
I know. Yeah. I know.
It's a black guy with no rhythm.
I know. He's completely off beat.
That's hard to find. That is hard to find.
Explains the light skin.
He's got a white father.
And, of course, and we'll have to continue this
on
Mug Club in a little bit. So if you are not a member, none of this investigative journalism happens. We do an extra 100% of show every day. Nick DiPaolo at 5, Alex Jones on Friday, Hodge Twins, Brian Callen. No monetization on YouTube, so if you're watching on Rumble, click that button. You can join Mug Club. Thank you so much for your support. Or if you're on YouTube, you can leave. But let's move on here to Democrat Nikki Haley, of course, also slammed Republicans.
I told them that if they would do this, that South Carolina would wrap their arms around them and take care of them. I now officially work for you. There is nothing that you can need that we won't make sure that we deliver.
I apologize. We are better than that.
We are?
With the right Nikki Haley clip.
They're all right.
Yeah. I wanted to make sure that I got that in before we went to Mug Club.
Right. We promised.
We promised.
We did.
We promised you.
We need to get the right clip, though.
Yeah, we do need So actually, here is Nikki Haley, I think, discussing the bill, the border. But she is still, yes, being awful.
It's irresponsible to say that Congress has to wait until a general election because Trump is worried that he's going to lose. There's a lot of reasons we got to worry Trump's going to lose, but you don't sacrifice national security to do it.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow. The bill is sacrificing national security.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Even if this was a standalone $20 billion bill for border security, it would still suck and still not be something that you should vote for.
Right.
And still not solve the problem on the border.
Right.
Because the border wall is, if we have money left over at the end of the day, you can come back to Congress and petition us to once again put funding towards building the wall.
Right.
Doesn't fix the problem at all. It's like
it exacerbates it.
Yep.
It's just still the same thing. 4,999 bottles of beer on the wall.
Yeah.
And they're fine.
Yes, they don't want to propose another $60 billion for Ukraine. They don't want to go back to their constituents and say, I'm the person who demanded $60 more billion to Ukraine.
Right, exactly.
So they want to go back and say, I'm the person who supported the border bill, but the other Republicans, not me. They said no. Now, here's something really, really dark. This White House. Which is kind of, it's a little bit ironic because it's Karen Jean-Pierre. They're they're basically threatening to hold Americans hostage. Not threatening. They are going to hold you hostage over the deal. So on Air Force One, Karen Jean-Pierre said because of Republicans, ICE will start letting people go. Every time Congress has provided less than we asked for, or more recently, completely ignored our supplemental request, here is what that means. ICE would be forced to reduce its removal operations, its total detention capacity, and more. When ICE can't, I believe she said afford, can't conduct these operations or stopped herself, I'm using her loosely, our national security and public safety will be harmed.
Wait, so ICE has to do a worse job than they're doing now?
Yeah. They deballed them 5 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, wasn't it the Obama administration who said, look at kids in cages? Who built the cages, Joe? Let's go back to the Flores consent. You've always played politics. You've played politics with the safety of Americans, and you play politics with these migrants who come over. You don't care about them. You want to buy votes.
And they would let the illegals know when ICE was coming. Remember that?
Yes.
At courthouses and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's cities and not deporting because they opposed a bill deporting illegals that had a DUI.
Right.
Yes.
Multiple DUIs. It's like, at this point, what do we do? You let them attack cops in New York City and they can just flee the state because no cash bail. They flick off the cameras as they're leaving. Joe Biden, day one after he killed the Keystone Pipeline, because that was job number one. Job number two was to declare there was no emergency at the border, and the numbers went way up.
By the way, I'm against the whole Minority Report, like predicting crimes. Right. But it would be pretty easy for illegal immigrants DUIs. Just go to racetrack at around 3:30, 4 o'clock when they get out of work. Just hang around where they pick up the 40s and follow them. Pull them over. You're back in El Salvador before you can say El Salvador.
Or Mexico.
El Salvador is safer now than here.
It is.
It is now. It is now. And this Karen Jean-Pierre, she's been pretty tolerant, by the way, of illegals up until they invaded her own personal space.
Get off my plane.
Really?
I hadn't seen that before, Aaron, and it doesn't make sense. I forgot Gary Oldman was in that. That pile of crap. How many Oscars and Tonys does that guy have?
More than he deserves. I like him, though.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, when Harrison Ford dies, his pointer finger needs to be in a museum. Every movie. I know, you asshole. Get off my plane. Get out of my wife. That was What Lies Beneath.
Oh, come on.
I liked What Lies Beneath with Michelle Pfeiffer. Did you ever see that one? With Harrison Ford, he had the peck implants in that movie.
She's a babe.
Get off my Millennium Falcon.
Yes. No? Yes, exactly.
He kicks Chewbacca off.
Get out of my cantina. So here's also another Democrat, Chris Murphy, who told us that the people we should care about most, and this is, again, saying the quiet part out loud, a representative of you, the American public, public servant, I should say, should care most about illegal immigrants.
The negotiation didn't have a path to citizenship. It was entirely on their terms
in transition.
Order to get Ukraine.
I think he's there.
Yeah.
Rachel Maddow.
Well, I mean, Chris, that's been a failed play for 20 years. So you are right that has been the Democratic strategy for 30 years, maybe. And it has failed to deliver for the people we care about most, the undocumented Americans that are in this country.
Here you go.
I would have even not accepted the people who we care about equally, non-citizens.
Right.
I still would have not accepted that, but you made it worse.
I almost give him credit.
Yeah.
Out there with it.
Is Connecticut? They have a big immigration problem in Connecticut. You guys are.
They're about to.
You guys are. Yeah. Well, hey, listen. We got some buses, we got some planes, and we got people. We'll send them up your way and see how you handle it.
Is he Connecticut or New Jersey?
Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Hope Westchester has stocked up on Four Loko.
Connecticut.
Right.
Yeah, he's Connecticut. Murphy is Connecticut.
All right.
Yeah. Nick is fact check. She's fact checking right now. It's Connecticut. If he's not Connecticut, I will quit this show forever.
All right, fuck it.
Yeah, you don't want to
have that hanging over my head.
You don't want to be that guy. Yeah.
I got my eye on a nice boat.
I said, come on, you've got a very nice gremlin waiting for you if you play your cards right. So here's something interesting too. The Americans are not buying what the White House is selling. And there's an interesting dynamic here. People in swing states, they overwhelmingly right now trust President Donald Trump over former Vice President Biden on the immigration issue. It's 52% to 30%.
Wow.
Now, keep in mind, of course, Trump's been beating Biden in the aggregate polling, but Donald Trump never polled very well on the immigration issue when he first ran. However, we argued back then that, that's a big reason for the secret voter, the polls being so off, because everyone said they were still afraid at that point of being called a racist because it still kind of worked.
Right.
People hadn't been inoculated against it or become desensitized. And they would say, oh, I don't like what Donald Trump said about the border and illegal migrants. Yeah, I think that's distasteful. I'm going to vote for Trump, okay?
Right.
Now, 52 to 30.
52 to 30. And like you said, he was underwater on that in 2016 and 2020, the entire election cycle, which to me is kind of crazy because you saw the numbers, the results of his plan. Right. By the time the 2020 election season rolled around,
border crossings.
Still he was underwater. Now people are finally going like, wow, okay, I guess this guy actually had it down. He had a good plan with the alligators and the, things straight out of the movie Congo to make sure that people didn't get in.
I think that former Vice President Biden is a disaster. But I always said, look, here's what you're going to have. You're going to have 8, Obama and Biden. 3, because of the last year, let's call it a wash, right? COVID. You're going to have 8, 3, and 4. And you're going to have that sandwich there. And you're going to have a contrast. Wait, one of these things is not like the other. Here you go. I think the border issue is we would consider that a one issue in politics for Donald Trump. That is not only a winning issue, he has won that issue. People have seen the contrast. They say, I want that guy. They may not like his tweets. They may not like I don't like what he said about Bud Light recently. But on the border, and think about this, they want to stop this guy from being president so badly. I was just thinking about this today on CNN. Sorry, I was thinking they were talking on CNN. I wasn't on CNN. And going, okay, what was so insane and dangerous that you absolutely have to stonewall this guy from being in office? A rip-roaring economy, the border being more secure, fewer crossings.
Hitler.
No wars, no new wars.
And by the way, he'll never leave office, though, even when he thought the election was stolen from him, and we know 100% without a doubt that Donald Trump fully believed that the election was stolen from him.
Yeah.
Not getting into the veracity of that, he fully believed it. He was still the president when he believed that, guys. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
He felt like he had been cheated, and guess what? When the time came, he jumped on Marine One, flew to Andrews, jumped on a plane, went home.
They hate him for a million reasons, but nobody ever mentions alpha male, Christian, blonde hair, blue-eyed billionaire, old white fella. That's the devil incarnate to the left.
I think it goes without saying.
He embodies it.
Yeah.
Unless you can control him like, somebody like Biden who's not,
Yeah, but Biden's not an alpha male, and he's not a fucking, and he's not a billionaire.
No,
he's a beta.
He's not.
He's
a
puss
plagiarist.
and a crook.
Yes.
This guy is what we were talking about yesterday. He's the guy that used to beat these jerk-offs up that run the world.
I don't know if Donald Trump was beating people up.
No, that's how they see him, though, as a bully, because he writes mean tweets.
Yes, exactly.
And he is an alpha fucking male.
Yeah, he definitely has done a lot better than former Vice President Biden, who failed in 1988 running for president.
You think Biden could handle dealing with the fucking organized crime and cement?
Well,
building buildings.
Biden couldn't visit with the Pope without shitting himself.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Twice in the last week, Biden has claimed to have meetings with people that have been dead for years or decades.
He sees dead people.
Twice in the last week.
Yes, he's Haley Joel.
He's either got this sixth sense that goes into another realm, or he's out of his mind.
He does have a sixth sense because he constantly smells burning toast and tastes copper.
That's true. Yeah. Who was that guy in the thing with the safe? Watch Slider with Crowder live Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.